Hi, I'm Jennifer Sertle from Agility 3R, and I'm here right now with Maria José Pereira. And before we get into our interview, I just would like an opportunity to say hello to Napier Collins, who is a dear friend of ours, who is a beautiful pollinator. And he is someone that introduced me to Triarchy Press, which is that company that helped me publish Strategy, Leadership, and the Soul. It is also the company that published Gene Russell's Thrivability, and we also wanted an opportunity, because he's a friend of both of ours, to say hello to Graham Lester, who has a new book coming out, actually I think today or tomorrow, but I don't have a copy of it yet, but he wrote a beautiful book, Dancing at the Edge, and I'll be sure to have links to all of these books here. But what we're here to talk about right now is we're in Rochester, New York, and we're at Carlson Co-working Space, but we are so lucky that Maria Pereira actually came from Portugal to speak at the University of Rochester, and she's talking about her book, A Banker Reflects on Money, Love, and Virtue. And I have read it recently, and I was very surprised that it felt more like a philosophy book than a business book. And I first wanted to ask you, why did you choose to tell your story in such a beautiful fashion that was much more poetic than Harvard Business, if you will?
Well, for various reasons. It's because my book stemmed from my reflection on the financial crisis. So the book was really a call for ethics. Mm-hmm. And I felt that that needs to bring me back to the whole origin of economics. And it reminded me that economics actually stem from philosophy. And of course it's something that very few people know about today. And in fact, philosophy has fallen out of fashion. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's very important to bring it back, because through philosophy, then we understand what ethics is about. And I decided to use the word virtue rather than ethics, mm-hmm. because it harks back to the beginning of Western civilization, to the Greeks. Mm-hmm. And I feel that money, love, and virtue are actually very closely intertwined, and that they thrive together because they represent different dimensions of our person. And I felt that there were enough business books around, and there were enough books relating to ethics. But I felt the need to really pull these three together and write about it.
It seems that when we think about money, it's kind of polarizing. Mm-hmm. And I think we think of money in greed and consumption. Mm-hmm. So it's really interesting how you see virtue in money. Mm-hmm. And can you help us better understand how, in our own minds, we can reconcile those two?
Okay. Because money represents the material side of our person. I mean, money, love, and virtue represents three different dimensions of the person. Money represents the material side. We need money. Whether you call it money or you call it something else, because mm-hmm. now there's a lot of discussion about alternative currency and new currency, and with technological invention, we really don't know what the future role of money is going to be. Mm-hmm. But whatever it is, it really represents the need of exchanging material goods. It's a venue right now. It's mm-hmm. the tool for exchange. And I discuss money here really as the lifeblood of society. It's the material blood that we need to have flowing through society. Mm-hmm. We can't deny that we need it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So money per se is not polarizing. What is polarized is how we use it. Mm. Right? And that's where ethics comes in. And that's where love comes in. Because the Greeks said that friendship is the crown of life and the school of virtue. So friendship is a form of love. So through friendship or through consideration for the other, we can behave in the way that we should in order to create
right.
society
right.
that serves everybody well. So in such a society, we use money well. So money is not evil.
Yes, yes.
What is evil is how we use it,
yes.
if we use it wrongly.
What's really beautiful, and I didn't necessarily get this from the book, but from your dialogue right now I get, is that in a way reciprocity mm-hmm. comes from that.
That's right.
Which is, we're entering right now the collaborative economy. Mm-hmm. We've been in the collaborative economy, now we're in the gift economy. Mm-hmm. So the way in which you describe it almost lends itself to, we would end up here.
Yes.
If we really understood where it came from, and it's almost back to the future.
Exactly. You see, this is why I think philosophy is very important, because we think that we are always inventing things, but in fact we're not really inventing things. We're just reinterpreting things that have been with us for a very long time.
Yes.
You know, throughout, and we do invent things along the way, but a lot of what we reinvent is a reinterpretation of what we know from
Right.
the past. So the idea, for example, of reciprocity, well, I studied a lot through some Italian economists that have done a lot of work with someone called Antonio Genovesi, who was a Neapolitan economist of the 18th century, so he was a contemporary of Adam Smith's.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote about the civil economy.
Mm.
And the civil economy's objective is the common good. And the civil economy's, how would I say, the qualities of the civil economy are reciprocity
Yes.
and confidence.
Oh, wow.
So confidence is linked to virtue.
Confidence is now.
Right? Because how can you have confidence in someone or inspire confidence in someone else without caring or thinking well of the other person, without doing harm to the other person?
Wow. And so, I mean, I wish we could have an hour-long conversation because often I think people associate confidence with power and the abuse of power. And what you're saying is that it's actually confidence is care. Am I hearing you correctly?
Exactly. Confidence is care.
I've not heard that before.
Exactly. It stems from reciprocity. It stems from concern.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And confidence inspires trust. So it's all interrelated.
Oh my gosh.
It's
Well,
interrelated.
because now I'm thinking of how we have really, this is politically incorrect, screwed things up because of charity, right?
Uh-huh.
Charity really isn't gracious in ways in which I'm thinking of, again, probably how it's used. I'm reading in your eyes that I'm misinterpreting something.
Well, what do you mean by charity?
Well, I'm
Are you
thinking...
talking about how charity is used today?
Well, in some of the organizations that I've worked with,
Mm-hmm.
the way in which they've tried to solve problems
Oh, I
have
see.
been
Okay,
very
I know what you
paternal,
mean.
if you will,
Exactly, I know what
and
you
very
mean.
much about I can do something to fix you,
Yes.
which to me doesn't feel loving.
Yes.
And so the way I hear it is a different way of care.
Yes.
And
Yes. No, we're on the safe way.
So correct this for our audience, and you don't have to edit this because I don't mind the rawness. How do we interpret it so that people don't get confused? What do we mean? That there's a way to give that is regenerative, or...
Because in our society, we believe that in markets we have to maximize profit for ourselves.
Yes.
Right? And the profits that we make, we then give to charity. Right? We use for charity.
Mm-hmm.
But in a society where everything is integrated, you don't need charity.
Okay.
Because you practice charity in the market, but not charity in the way we understand it.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
We practice in terms of virtue. I
Yes.
call it virtue.
Right.
Right? Because in such markets, there's no abuse. Markets cannot be fully equal because not every agent brings the same resources.
Yes.
So full equality is not possible. But markets can be mutually beneficial, where each agent gets some benefit out of it, where there's symmetry in the relationship.
Yes.
And symmetry implies trust and confidence. It implies regard for the other. There's no abuse.
I don't believe this is being taught in MBA programs today. I have two questions. I'm inspired by the book. I studied existential philosophy at CU Boulder, and so having a book I think is going to be a business book, be a philosophy book is such joy. But what do you hope when people take the time to read it? What behaviors what do you hope it evokes in them, or why did you choose to write it, for what cause?
Yeah. Well, because I felt that there was need for it. I mean, and all you need to do is look around and you see that people are really hungry for that. I mean, that people feel that there's a void in their life, and that void is formed through a sense of being abused and a sense of really great disappointment. And we see with the electoral process right now that there's great disillusionment with politics, there's great disillusionment with banking, there's great disillusionment with people in power. And so I felt that there is a need really to have a dialogue about how do you restore that. And having come from the financial world, having come from Wall Street, I'm able to see both sides of the equation. And I know that money is not bad on its own.
Right.
As I said earlier, it depends on how you use it. So how do you restore that dialogue, where it's not polarized? When one person is not always right and the other person is not always wrong. Because in fact, nobody's always right. So one has to constantly try to establish a dialogue to see how can we resolve something constructively.
Right. Wow. What is next for you? Are you doing a consulting practice with these principles, or where what are you doing now?
Well, when I started writing the book, and people said to me, who's your market? And I said, well, I have no target market, because in fact, the book should be read by anybody who really wants to contribute to the world. But then I said, however, if you ask me what would make me happiest, is if somehow that book found itself onto the reading list of a lot of students, because the students are the ones that are going to create the future. So I teach a course at Franklin University in Lugano, and it's in the master's program. And so I teach a 1-week seminar intensive where we discuss the book and discuss the concepts around the book. I've been giving conferences in civil society as well as at universities, including the one tomorrow at the University of Rochester. So my objective is really to expand the dialogue.
Yes, yeah. I think it needs to be facilitated. This whole process needs to be facilitated, and I'm so thankful that you took some time to meet with me today, and I'm very excited about the trajectory of the conversation. I think we're really ready to take more responsibility to create care in our communities, and I think you have a way to inspire that. And goodbye, Napier. We really, really miss you.
Thank you for your time, Jennifer. Goodbye, Napier. Hope to see you soon.
All the best. Thank you.